That we made here, and for those who are very notorious for criticizing the media, they would always say, "Oh, the media, you people do not report the good thing that come out of this country. You're always amplifying the negatives." Listen, um, that's it's our work. Oh. Yes, you cannot take it away from us. So until we hear the report as flashed across papers, reading children and teachers abducted in Oyo State freed, we will continue to hammer on that issue until Tor becomes tired that we own such rights. Because it's important to get these people out of there. I was sharing with Excel earlier and saying for some people who will not be comfortable to repeating clothing, you can imagine these people putting on one cloth for that long. It's been up to a month now and still counting. What exactly would be their perception? How would they feel? Their humanity will be reduced. And with the various talks making the round, Mrs. Elamu, who happens to be one of the teachers, she has also been fronted again for the third time to actually bring this to the public, talking about what the abductors are demanding and what narrative they intend to correct, unfortunately. This is us reflecting. Let's go with the first one.
Some people are making our problems to be complicated already. We were shown some print media where it was stated that these people that abducted us requested for release of some people.
They were shown on some print media, access to the internet, ability to upload and delete photos, ability to be traced by some web trackers or whoever has such expertise. Let's listen to the other part.
Requested for ₦1 billion. They requested for Sharia to be entrenched in the country. These are not true. They are just trying to create problems for us. We have been here since we have not been forced to worship in Islamic way. We have been left alone. They have not troubled us concerning that. They are not asking for Sharia law. They are not asking for money. The single thing they are asking for is the release of some of their people. I don't know why they are peddling this rumor to make it complicated for us. Please, we are just begging you. Don't play politics with our lives. Nigerians, please help us to circulate this. Let it go viral. They are not asking for Sharia law. It is not true. They are not asking for weapons. They are not asking for money. All they want is the release of some people. And the government will never...
I don't know how else I should feel about this, but we already did express some thoughts earlier in this direction. I just wanted you to also listen firsthand from the lady, but this is painful. This is painful and disheartening. Now let's take it a step further, talking about something that you may likely call of comparative with happening in South Africa, talking about this xenophobic attack where the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Bianca Odumego-Ojukwu, has actually spoken about a plan that the federal government is making to bring back those who had voluntarily indicated that they want to return to the country. And I hear some people say, no, it's best you don't even come back to Nigeria, look for another destination and go.
Mr. President himself has reiterated the fact that this aircraft must come to South Africa and our citizens who are imperiled will have the chance of getting on this aircraft to be brought back to their country. There are several processes, as you know, that have to be undertaken by South African Homeland Security. We ensure that we screen our citizens who want to return, they also are part of the screening process. And once the citizens are cleared, they are given a paper that indicates that they're free to go.
So, someone had called earlier, and I think he captured this outside the frames of what we had delivered on the Daybreak headline segment.
From the news at 6.
And he had expressed how discontent he was with this particular scenario. I don't know why we should continue having this friction, but I feel like, within the African context, we should really come to a place where we can close some of the gaps and be able to work as one, have a common understanding, just like some of the things that you witness in Europe and the other parts where this diversification exists. But from a very long time now, you've been getting to hear about these people attacking Nigerians, and unfortunately, sometimes Nigerians are not even at an advantage to maybe give a possible reply. And here we are, always talking about going to get them. You bring them back after a year or two, the situation happens to die down, more people move to that area, and we have a repeat again. We've talked about fixing the country, but how long should we actually get to have a repeat of these instances?
Well, evidently, relationships are broken down, internal and external. Internally, Nigeria does not in itself appear safe. We know that. Externally, we have persons who, we might want to allude to the fact that they sound and act disoriented. The sudden waking up to say if you're in our country and you don't have your papers, you need to leave. Now, one would have thought that it would end there. I also hear that there are certain persons who have their papers that have also been asked to leave just because they are not South Africans. To bring it back home so that we do not stray so far from what concerns us down here, if we made our country absolutely habitable for the people, would we be having these numbers in terms of returnees or persons who are frustrated and stranded there in South Africa?
We can still have it, but not much.
The answer is no, we would not have these numbers. I mean, you would rather have persons who would go there, holiday, and come back. I'll give you a quick instance if you want us to get more practical here. How many Irish nationals do you have in Nigeria today, at least in their numbers, as much as you have Nigerians in Ireland as we speak? How many Britons live here as much as we have Nigerians living in Great Britain? You can go on, and you ask yourself, very, very honestly, why do we have that disparity? It's simple. Strange lands have become home, and home has become a strange land, right? So, summarily, if Nigeria had been fixed before now, it's very clear that we'll not be going through what we're going through right now in terms of having to repatriate persons who ordinarily left the shores of this country to go do business elsewhere. Of course, there are a lot of protocols and agreements and conventions that allow for this to happen. But where it's not happening, where the world perhaps is more busy with the United States, Iran, and Israel, and all of that, it's almost like anyone can walk in and walk out. And South Africa is doing just that. You listen to Ramaphosa, President of South Africa, speaking some night ago, and you could just say that, man, even if there was a glimmer of hope right now, that glimmer is as weak as a flicker, And what much can he do? That should even have worried anybody, given the fact that this had happened for months, and he had not said anything. I spoke with a Nigerian resident in Johannesburg, and the person said to me, what we have is a system where South Africans who are ordinarily a bit extra emotional always have these emotions trumped up whenever anybody has a political point he or she intends to score. And some names were mentioned, some persons were pointed at. Now that is their local politics, and it seems to be working for them. Should Nigerians be at the receiving end? The answer is no. Can we avoid being at the receiving end? The answer is yes. Are we doing what it takes to avoid it? I wouldn't be sure that we're doing so. We've heard about reciprocal measures from Mrs. Bianca Ojukwu, you know, where she says, and I in my head I'm like, oh, what really will be the reciprocal? Do you want to close down SE businesses in Nigeria? Do you want to now begin to hurt the same relations that we said we wanted to preserve? How exactly diplomatically do you want to go about this whole, you know, drama? So that for me is where the ball is, and let's hope we get to kick right and not kick wrongly.
Absolutely. And with that, we wrap it up on the reflections. Remember, we don't get to talk about it. That's you making your contribution.
On
we
radio.
just deliver this to you on the sidelines.
Mm.
Right now, let's get into the other part of Real Talk.